Okay, it's day 2 here in Sissamute. It was awesome yesterday, and I think today's gonna be awesome as well. There's an abandoned village about 10 kilometers hike, or maybe 10 kilometers as the crow flies, straight south of here, and we've hired a boat to take us there. And the boat's gonna take us there, and then we're gonna hike back. This trip is an adventure trip, it's a scouting trip, and it's a bit of a hiking trip. We're doing lots of walking. So yeah, that's what's going down. Just gotta wait for the taxi to show up. Greenland can be intimidating. It's huge, and it's easy to feel little here. Getting into this boat and being dropped off in the middle of nowhere with no cell coverage and only an emergency GPS tracker feels intense. Over the years, we've become so used to these technological crutches that we just don't have here. So as we hopped across the gently rolling swell in what felt like not much more than a motorized bathtub, there was a sense of excitement, mystery, and yeah, a little bit of nervousness. Okay, we made it to the village. I don't know the name of the village. Our water taxi driver said his wife was the second last person born here. It was abandoned in 1968, and it's still kept up to a small degree, mostly for tourism, but you can see a lot of the buildings here are just starting to crumble into the landscape. This yellow house up here was actually his wife's family house, so really kind of cool here. And now we just gotta wait like an hour until Greg and the other half of our group get here, because the boat was only a 4-passenger boat. So that's what's going on, and then we'll start hiking. The reason the village is here is obvious. It's absolutely beautiful. It's so peaceful. The colorful homes sit on a tiny island nestled among epic cliffs and calm seas. It's just so peaceful. But it doesn't feel like a place to live, but rather a place to escape, a place to be off the grid. And I have a hard time imagining the amount of work that would have to go into living here. Fishing for food, transporting children by boat into school. Just the pure remoteness of life here. It's unreal. Still waiting for Greg, but managed to explore the village, and one, you can see why people would have settled here. It's absolutely beautiful. It's this little island in the middle of nature, and who wouldn't want their own island in the middle of nature? But you can also see why people would have eventually abandoned it, because it's just a long way from anywhere. Honestly, it's just, there's not a whole lot going on out here. There's definitely no specialty coffee shops. I did manage to get a couple really cool photos, I think. Over there on the other side, there was a little inlet of water that was reflecting nicely. There was this old barn that was balanced really nicely into these peaks, and a couple other more minimalist shots as well. So I'm really happy. And I could probably spend a couple more hours here, but I think I see Greg on the way. So the hike begins. It's about 8K as the crow flies. 10. Probably, I just checked the map. It's 8K as the crow flies, but it's probably gonna be at least 10 to 12K by the time we scamper around. So gotta get moving. Let's go. It gets really bouncy at the ends, doesn't it?
How's it feel?
It feels bouncy, baby. So we're starting the trek with a bit of a bang. There's a little crack in the rocks. It looks like there's somebody that left us a rope. We're gonna have to rope climb this. And then it looks like we have no idea. The trail follows the coast all the way back to Assaqutaq, but the coast is pretty rugged. So I'm thinking this is probably the only rope we have to do, but yeah, it's a good way to start. So let's climb. Tour leader Brendan is outwardly saying, "Come on guys, this is easy. This is obviously the only hard bit of the trek." But tour leader Brendan is also screaming on the inside, "Oh my God, what have I gotten us into?" But luckily, after successfully guiding my group up the rope crawl, we ended up on a craggy ledge with majestic views as we walked. And now, for some of Greg's drone footage to make us look like a group of hobbits heading off on an adventure into Middle-earth. So far the trek is pretty awesome, actually. It's definitely not well trodden. You probably can't even see the trail. It's like a small, tiny little trail, but there are little blue dots spray painted on the rock to follow. So far we haven't had any issues, but I'm a little bit worried about issues of the spirit now, because we've just stumbled across an Inuit graveyard. And the way they were buried is they weren't actually buried, they were settled and then rocks piled around them. So you can actually even see bones sometimes sticking out. It's very eerie and I'm not sure I like it. So we're gonna keep hiking and hope I'm not haunted forever. We must have been good because the spirits guided us through calm weather and stunning scenery. We popped up through stacks of rocks, tucked through saddles of earth, and weaved through fields of blueberry-dotted shrubs. There's very little better for the soul than a long walk surrounded by beauty like this. There are no video clips that could possibly capture the sensation of feeling so small, yet so at peace as we feel here wandering along the coast of Greenland. Eventually, we scale a reflection pool stuffed pass and step our way towards civilization. The first sign of housing is this beautifully placed cabin with lonely views. It's perfect. We survived. We're back in the big city of Assaqutaq. That was a very enjoyable hike. I really had a great time. And I'm also really looking forward to having a shower and crashing. But we'll be back at it tomorrow. I think we're gonna try to maybe climb one of these big mountains this way. The next day, we do not climb one of those big peaks. Instead, I decided that I'd take the day off filming, and we'd take a day to explore closer to town. We wandered around the airport area. We explored the harbor. And eventually we found ourselves at a viewpoint to photograph what ended up being a really beautiful sunset over Sisimiut. Okay, for today's trick, we're hiking again. It's a 15-kilometer round trip hike to the top of that peak up there, and apparently there's pretty awesome views in both directions. So it's an awesome day, it's really beautiful. I don't know how late we'll stay up there, if we'll stay till sunset, if we'll make it at all, but we're gonna try, so let's get hiking. Before we even reached the start of the hike, we were met with a vicious obstacle: the cuteness of sled dog puppies.
Hey, you!
The puppy?
Belly scratch?
Puppies!
Oh, belly scratch my puppy! Where's your mama?
There's another one right here.
Oh, look at you! Are you jealous of the belly scratch?
Licking the camera.
No!
Really
He bit the mic. He bit the mic. Did you bite the mic? You guys are cute. Puppy attack! Ah!
Hello.
Sisimiut is the dog sledding capital of Greenland. Nearly every family seems to have a sled and dogs. In fact, I'd fashion a guess that the dog population of Sisimiut might actually outnumber the human population. We called this area Dog City, and it stretches all the way out into the countryside. And eventually, we do find peace from the howl of the dogs at the calm waters of the lakes that dot the landscape here. And we start to take on Nasaasaaq. I think that's how it's pronounced. And no, Nasaasaaq isn't the Greenlandic Stock Exchange, rather this near 800-meter peak that we're in the shadow of.
We're about 250 meters up. It's absolutely beautiful. And now we're climbing this ledge. It hasn't been so hard so far, to be honest, but this is looking like it's gonna be, yeah, a little bit steep.
For the most part, the trek is pretty calm, but this one section definitely has some edge to it. We are rewarded though with panoramic views and unspoiled nature.
Okay, we made it to the top and the views are awesome. Over here you have the fjord and some islands and the open sea, some mountains in the distance. Over here you have town, which looks awesome, and some other mountains. But it's so bluebird today. It's so bright blue sky that the photos just don't have that pop. They don't have that magic.
Magic or not, I didn't come all the way up here not to take a photo. But it's definitely one of those situations where the drone footage will definitely show more scale and life than the still camera does.
We made such good time up here that it doesn't really make sense to stay up here. We got up here, it's like 5:20. Sunset's at like 9:20. So I think sitting up here for 4 hours doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So we're gonna explore a little bit more, then we're gonna hike back down and come up with a different sunset plan. Maybe one of the lakes down at the bottom, but we'll see.
With the light starting to glow golden and feeling pretty accomplished, we headed down the hill. As usual for me, it's not a hike if I don't have my pockets full of candy.
Candy. Wait, I already ate like a kilo on the hike.
Recording, what's up?
We finished the hike. Greg's going for Thai food because he's not a dedicated photographer. Me, I'm gonna sit out and wait for sunset because I think there's gonna be mountain glow. And hopefully don't get eaten alive by the mozzies. Because they're kind of nasty, hey?
I've seen worse.
That's because you're from Oshawa.
Dear Oshawa, I'm sorry. The Schwa is a lovely spot and place of birth to many great Canadians like AJ Cook, Joe Nieuwendyk, and Greg. So as Greg and crew went off for some authentic Greenlandic Thai food, I waited among the midgies and wowing scenery. Eventually, I got a photo. But it wasn't for a couple hours more that things took a turn for the epic.
Thing is, oh, is it audio?
Yeah.
Oh, hello there, YouTube. It's so we were just walking back after giving up on the Northern Lights. We basically hung out this location for like 4 hours and then gave up on Northern Lights. And then as we were walking, we saw to the south Northern Lights, and they were so strong that they were banding all the way across the sky from the south to the north. And there's like pockets throughout the sky. There's just bits and pieces all over the sky of Northern Lights. And it's absolutely crazy how fast they're moving. Unfortunately, we're not really in the best place with mountains or anything like that, but they're so impressive right now, and there's greens and purples and reds in them that you can almost just shoot straight at them without much of a foreground, and they still look absolutely incredible. I mean, look at that. It's epic.
What?
I've gotten better Northern Lights photo than I did tonight. The foreground wasn't there, and they weren't as bright as I've seen in the past. But the way the light danced tonight was something I've never seen. It was unreal. And though I could have stayed out in the middle of nowhere and watched the lights all night, I was a bit greedy. So with the light show going off all around me, I raced back to town in hopes of adding something truly Greenlandic to the frame of my image. And thankfully, I caught the last moment of the lights before they were put out for the night.
So, we were out until 2 in the morning last night, photographing the lights. I would say that last night's Northern Lights was the most impressive I've seen. I've seen like really hugely bright ones, but last night they were just dancing and they were all over the sky, and you only get that this far north. So it was pretty epic, and I'm gonna call this video now. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.